Hellboy the Corpse, written by Mike Mignola, with art by Mike Mignola and colors by Matthew Hollingsworth, letters by Pat Brosseau, and edited by Scott Alley. I tasked myself with reviewing a short story this week for my first quick review, and it took very little time to decide on The Corpse, arguably the most famous Hellboy short story, and rivaling even some of Hellboy's most famous longer format books. The Corpse continues to not only be an important issue in its continuity, but also a defining story in the franchise's tonality and structure. While its preceding issues are still identifiably Hellboy, The Corpse notably uses more outright humor and banter than in Seed of Destruction or Wake the Devil. While he has always thrown cheesy jeers at his foes, Hellboy arguing with a dead guy on his back over nonsense while getting screamed at by a cemetery brings the series' comedy to a spotlight. I shouldn't have to say too much on the artwork because you know the drill, it's old-style Mignola artwork. Obviously, if you've gotten to know me by now through the channel, you know I'm not going to have a ton of interesting things to say about it as I'm not really an artist, but it's more linear than his current artwork, but otherwise the same. Hollingsworth's color palette is very distinct to this era of Hellboy. You probably recognize it the most from Seed of Destruction. The same can be said for Pat Brosseau's letters. If I had to pick out a particular panel that incorporates these three together really well, I'd have to go with the scene in the flaming Carrick Fadvicarous Cemetery. Mignola's well-known skeletons look even cooler with the use of flames as a highlight, and Hollingsworth's use of a gradient on the flames make it stand out against all the other flatter colors in the scene. This also incorporates my favorite use of lettering in the issue, a flaming text bubble reading "No Room." Like most of early Hellboy, this story has seen a ton of prints. In particular, this one's up there for the most official releases. It was first printed in 2-page segments across issues 75 to 82 of Advance Comics. Then, its first full print was in Hellboy the Corpse and Iron Shoes. Then again in 2004 without Iron Shoes to promote the upcoming feature film. Then, of course, it was collected first in Hellboy Volume 3, The Chain Cofฟี่and Others, again in Hellboy Library Edition Volume 2, and finally in Hellboy The Complete Short Stories Volume 1. Of its non-collected printings, it has 2 covers, both by Mignola. While I do love both covers, I'm partial to the color palette of its first The Corpse and Iron Shoes cover, along with the adorable little fairy surrounding him. On the other hand, the 2004 print probably has more to do with the plot, and is perhaps a more fitting cover that tells more of a story. Going back to the earliest Hellboy books has been interesting for me, as with this site I've been primarily focusing on material that is released within the last 10 years or so. Seeing colors from people who aren't Dave Stewart and letters from someone who isn't Clem Robbins is a bit surreal to me, honestly. It's not that I didn't know this beforehand, but rather that I had read these old stories so long ago, I just kinda took it for granted. I really love what Hollingsworth and Brosseau do in this issue. Also, I should point out that I'm writing this on St. Patrick's Day, unintentionally so, but as this story is at its heart Irish, I am feeling a bit festive. Thank you for listening to this mini review. If you want to catch more reviews like it, or if you want other content related to Hellboy, you could subscribe to this YouTube channel and also check out our website, Mignolaverse.com, for more content. I'll see you guys around, hopefully, maybe. Please enjoy our stuff. I like it. I think it's good. I'm gonna stop jabbering. Bye. Happy St. Patrick's Day.